Hey folks, welcome to the insider view of building your data center one DSC resource at a time. I'm joined today with Michael Green, and this is just before he's going to go into the studios to shoot. In fact, Michael, what is it that you're going to talk about? There's a DSC resource that you're going to talk about with Don Jones at this video that you're going to do. What is the resource that you're going to talk about?
So we're going to talk about, xAzure, which is a resource that I wrote that was designed to use your machine, declare a configuration to have your machine go deploy things in Azure. So the idea was to have one file, I describe everything I need about that environment, and then DSC just makes it so, but it happens in Azure, builds the VM, and then can actually use DSC inside that VM. So it's kind of interesting.
So you're kind of using your machine as a proxy to?
That's exactly right.
Oh, this is really interesting. Now you're going to do xAzure, and you're also going to talk about the ARM API. What is that?
So xAzure was based on the Service Management API, which is, we were moving from the Service Management API towards the new Azure Resource Manager, or the ARM API. So going forward, my recommendation will be to look at that capability, and I'm actually going to demonstrate exactly what that looks like, kind of compare these things side by side so people have a clear understanding of what's what and why you'd want to use each one. But going forward, Azure Resource Manager and the commandlets that support it, which are amazing, will really be much more flexible.
Now, how would a business employ this? I mean, why would somebody in IT ops want to grab hold of this and start to implement this?
And so I talk to people all the time that just need a place to go test things. To give you an example, the people who have 2003 servers and they're trying to figure out if the applications on those things could be run on the newer operating system. But they don't have a bunch of hardware sitting around. They have their application source. Wouldn't it be nice if I could just provision the whole environment, right? There's a network that kind of looks like mine. There's some domain controllers and some servers. I can just take those source files, go install them on, here's 2012 R2, thumbs up, thumbs down. Did this behave the way that I thought it was going to within that environment? If so, now I've got a proven test. I can go back to my business leadership and say, hey, we need to start looking at how we're going to move to a newer platform. Piece of cake for me to spin up this test environment and show you.
Now this is very exciting. So anybody with an MSDN account can use their Azure access, use what you're going to be showing in this video with Don Jones, and go out, create their test environments, start working with other stuff that they want to work with in Azure.
Yep.
Just tear it down, spin it back up, easy peasy.
Yes, in fact, you could even deploy it and then shut it down, and you won't get billed for it while it's in a shut-off state. So if you want to test it and then it's a week later and you want somebody else to take a poke at it as well, start it back up for 15 minutes, you only get billed for that 15 minutes. So if you're using an MSDN credit, it means you're only using 15 minutes of your MSDN credit. So this is super flexible. It kind of changes the whole way we've thought about test environments.
Well, I'm really excited to see the interview that you're going to do with Don Jones, but I understand that, you're a big deal guy here at Microsoft. It was especially with the DSC stuff and all of that, but you already know Don Jones, right?
I do. Yeah, so I mentioned earlier, Don actually taught me PowerShell.
Which is amazing, right?
Yeah, we've known each other for a long time. So back in PowerShell V1, shortly after it was released, I actually went to a class, and Don was the instructor. So that was my first introduction, other than kind of hunting and pecking at the keyboard to try things out. And of course, at that point in time, the number of commandlets was much smaller.
Much smaller,
it was more like, wow, let's sit down and think about how this is going to impact things. And so now, almost 10 years later, here we are, getting to shoot a video together, and boy, the world of PowerShell has just exploded around us.
And it's kind of cool. The student has now become the master, right? We're here interviewing you. So this is fantastic. I'm so glad that we get to talk about xAzure and the ARM API, because I think this is great to help people out build test environments. So I really want to thank you for taking the time. And folks, see the actual video interview with Michael and Don Jones, where all the technical details and where all of the resource files for this are going to be located. Make sure you check out that video here at this link. So at that link, you can see the video. Enjoy the interview.